Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Very happy to see some regular, sincere, serious faces. I was very worried whether today devotees will turn up or not because of the torrential rain which is happening since quite a lot of days. But it looks like you people are very determined. So welcome, very, very happy. This Sunday is completely reserved for meeting you people and discussing Krishna Katha with you. Am I audible? Can you hear me, everybody? Is the volume okay for everybody? Can you hear me at the back? Okay. So like all the other sessions, we will start with some kirtan. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtha. So kirtan means hearing and chanting. Shravanam and kirtanam. Whether it is kirtan or class or anything, first we have to hear, then we have to follow. So first I will try to do the kirtan, you have to hear. And then when you will sing, I have to hear. So I will first chant, you hear, and then when you will chant, I will hear. It cannot be both together, okay? So one person sings, the group follows, and when the group follows, the person hears. That's the process of the kirtan. Okay? Then it is systematic. Then it is guided. Otherwise, it's not guided. You are singing something, I am singing something, and there's no synchronization. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namah. Very good. Little louder. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Gauravani Pracharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta. Try to keep the beat, the rhythm. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरा भक्त वृंदा। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यामुना तीर वनचारी। यशोदा यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यामुना तीर वनचारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Yoga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody who is coming for the first time today? Okay. Okay. Welcome to this Gita course. आप भी पहली बार आ रही हैं. Thank you. So you have come in a very revolutionary session, those who are coming for the first time. If you have any doubts, you can ask as we progress through the session. So the title for today's session is Who is the Real Boss? And like all the other sessions, this session is also dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON, my spiritual grandfather. Everything which I speak are based on his teachings. So I would like to offer this session for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. And I would try to seek his blessings and the blessings of all my teachers and well-wishers by chanting the pranam mantras. Those who know, they can repeat with me. Those who don't, just try to hear it very attentively. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम् हरि ओम तत्सत. Hare Krishna. So the agenda for today is the concept of boss. Who's the real boss? We are trying to understand. And I think pretty much you must have got by the hint or by the name of the session itself, we are trying to discuss about God. But then the primary agenda for today's session is to discuss, is there one God or many gods? Especially in India, there seems to be a supermarket of gods. If not this, then that. If not that, then this. I prayed to this God. My health didn't become better, so let me switch my God. And things like that. What do the scriptures say about it? Is there any confusion? Somebody is saying, Durga is God. Somebody is saying Shiva is God. Somebody is saying Vishnu is God. Somebody is saying Krishna is God. Somebody is saying Ganesha is God. So is there any confusion? Is there a competition going on? Or is there actually no competition? Is there some scriptural evidence or is there no scriptural evidence? Is everything based on whims and fancies, or is there any assumptions which are there here and there? Is that competition amongst the various so-called gods existent on planet Earth? Only on planet Earth, or is this competition going on in the higher planetary systems also? All these points we will discuss. Why is God all attractive unlike other bosses? So these are the topics for today. The concept of boss. I searched the word boss in Google, and different people get different searches. But for me, this picture came out a little prominent. So generally, the picture or the ideology of a boss which we have in our mind is that somebody who's authoritative, sometimes rude, sometimes not very pleasing, and a lot of instructions, sometimes pride. This is the general idea of a boss, because he asks us to do something which we may not like to do. Rather, very few people like the work which they do. So therefore, the person who drives them at work, he's not a very nice person for them. He or she may be nice, but because someone doesn't like the work which they do, and it's not natural also. Suppose somebody is, a survey was done. I forget the dates of the survey, but this survey was not in India, but it was in America. 80% of the people said that they hate the work which they do. 5% of the people chose not to answer, and rest 15% They had no idea what they were doing, so they said, I love the work I do. I'm not against working, but I'm just trying to say that if the majority says that they don't like, that means there must be a point behind it. Generally, people are working primarily, in most of the cases, to get money. Now, after getting that money, they were hoping to become happy in life. But because they are not becoming happy in life, that's why this concept of Monday blues comes in. That I don't like it when it is Monday. Some of my colleagues would tell me that, who works after the lunch on Friday? These kind of statements were quite often. It was very clear that just like a football player is very enthusiastic to go on the football ground, we don't find that much enthusiasm in people when they go for work. They need to do so many things to keep themselves motivated. There are so many motivational seminars which are needed for the employees. There are so many sessions which are needed other than the working periods, which are required to retain the employees. There are so many outings which are needed. There is so many increments that are needed. There are so many hikes which are needed. There are so many incentives which are needed. There are so many perks which are needed. Small request, if it is possible, please put the mobiles on silent, because calls will keep coming. People may not know that you are in a class. So they may be trying to contact you very urgently. So if that call is urgent, you can go out. If not urgent, then I will also put my mobile to silent. Yes. So it is very clear that there is a very, very strong push from the side of the employers and others to keep people motivated. This itself can give us some rudimentary idea that most of the times, in most of the cases, work doesn't seem to be so inspiring. If someone is given an option that you don't work or just come and don't work and do something else, probably people would do something else. Or if it is announced that, okay, you're working, you're very much inspired by your work, thank you very much. We will not pay you for it. Please continue working for the next 1 year. That's also not going to happen. The word attrition exists in the corporate. But this attrition, the last topic of today's discussion will be, why is God so attractive unlike other bosses? Because there is no attrition rate in Krishna consciousness. When somebody comes to Krishna, they never leave. At least we have never seen. Somebody who comes to Krishna consciousness, or somebody who understands what's Krishna consciousness, somebody who takes the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, they never want to leave. That's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. My spiritual abode is such, my dear Arjuna, that once when someone comes there, they never leave. So we have never heard of a company where someone goes and never leaves. If they don't leave, they are thrown out. I saw when I was working, there was a person who was working from the last 20 years. He was just asked to leave one day. Sincerely working from last 20 years. One day he was just asked to leave. So, but Krishna consciousness is not like that. Once you come, you never leave and you are happily ever after. And Krishna is not a kind of a boss which you will think 4 times, 5 times to follow or not. He is so inspiring that you feel like giving your life for him. That is Krishna, and that is Krishna consciousness. Now there is another concept running out these days. Everyone wants to be the boss themselves, whether they have the maturity and the qualification and the thought process criteria or not, but they want to be the boss. Statements like tired for working for someone else's dream, a new world waits for you, be your own boss. So not only people don't like their bosses, but there is a constant competition to become boss also. Career growth, growing up in the ladder. Why do people want to become boss? Can you just tell me a little bit? What is your thought process? Why does everyone want to be a boss only? I want to be the boss, yes. It is more on the sense gratification side, Prabhu is telling. Any other answer? Okay, so somebody is saying that they don't want to live in restrictions. That means a boss is free of restrictions. He or she can do whatever they want. They think like that. Yeah, it's not the case. Why does everyone want to become the boss? Just think. More money?
More freedom.
More freedom? Now you're talking. It feels nice to have a control over things, right? Be it at home or outside home. Just like you control your mobile. You can do whatever you want with it. Whenever you want, you switch it on. Whenever you want, you switch it off. If it is too much ringing, you just put it to silent. That is called absolute control. Now, people have the same expectation over other people also. I want to control my wife like that. I want to control my children like that. I want to control my brothers like that. Children want to control their parents like that. So similarly, employees want to control their boss like that, and boss wants to control their employees like that. Being subordinate is not a very great word. Nobody says, I am the subordinate of such and such. Everybody says, I am the boss of such and such. I am the leader of such and such. So servitude is not a word of pride. Nobody writes on their resume, I like the servitude of, I am presently under the servitude of these many people, and I like this service attitude, like that. Nobody writes like that. Everybody says that I'm leader, I'm doing this, I'm bringing this much profit, I'm doing that. Everybody wants to be the boss. So, the basic reason why people are doing this is because the urge is there within to be the lord of everything that they survey. Everything which someone sees around them, they want to boss it over. They want to be absolutely in control with it, over it. That is the basic, strong urge within everybody, be it a human being or be it a small fish. Now, why do you think that urge is there? That I want to be the lord of everything I survey. I want to lord it over the material nature which is around me. Why do you think that urge is there? Based on the discussions of the previous classes, can you just comment a little bit? We are part and parcel of the Lord. So why this bossy nature has come in us? Because of false ego. Okay. So false ego should be there or not? Should we all have ego or not? Yes or no? No. Prabhu is telling we should not have ego. Somebody feels you should have ego? We should not have false ego, but you mean the true ego should be there?
That is our identity.
That is your identity. Yes, that is the correct answer. Our identity is Jiver Swarup Hai Krishner Nitya Das. That is our true ego. That I am an eternal loving servant of Krishna and I want to serve him eternally. This is called Sambandha Gyan. That's my constitutional position. So that I should have, and I should take pride in it. Just like Hanuman, he was very proud of being a servant of Lord Ram. And he was so proud that he wanted to always remain a servant of Lord Ram. He said, what will I do with this liberation? If this liberation brings some kind of an obstacle or some kinds of an impediment between you and me, as you, my master, and me, your servant, then I don't want liberation also. That was Hanuman's thought process. When he went to Lanka to rescue Mother Sita, he introduced himself that I am one of the average servants of Lord Ram. I'm like not the best one also. Lord Ram has many servants like me, and I'm one of the average ones. And if I can devastate the whole Lanka, so you just imagine when Lord Ram will come with his army, how much powerful that effect will be. So certainly Hanuman was very proud of being a servant. See, the main reason why people like to call themselves as boss, leaders, because of the envious attitude against Krishna. I've explained in the previous sessions that people are here in this material world because of one single reason. They did not want to serve Krishna. They became envious of Krishna. They wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna. So they have to come to the material world. They have seen God in the spiritual world. They have seen Krishna, how he is the supreme enjoyer. And they have developed that desire. That now I also want to. Why should Krishna only have a mother? I will also have a mother. Why should only Krishna have all these palaces? I should also have my own palace. Why should Krishna only sing like this? I will also sing. I will also dance. These kind of activities. And why Krishna only controls everything? I will also control everything. So they are not realizing when the spirit soul forgets that it will be happy, the spirit soul will be happy serving God. When they forget this point, they want to derive happiness by controlling other things. But history has proven, and again, whether we are talking about people like Alexander to a person like Michael Jackson. Everybody who tried to control the planet, ultimately they ended up in frustration. Because that did not make them happy. In fact, Alexander, after conquering almost the entire planet, he was begging at the time of death that please give me 6 feet of land. He's the owner of so many lands and land masses and kingdom, but he's begging, give me 6 feet of land and put my hand outside my coffin while you're carrying so that you people can realize that my life's conquests and life's pursuits are useless at the time of death. So he was in a very humble begging mood at the time of death. So this means that all the proprietorship and the lordship mentality which Alexander displayed over his lifetime actually didn't make him happy. Actually did not make him happy. But that was not the case with people like Hanuman. That was not the case with any other person who was in the mood of a servant of Krishna. They were always happy. Look at Sudama, look at the friends of Krishna, etc., etc. So because we have this unlawful desire of being the lord of everything which they survey, they want to control everything which they see, which is not their nature. It's like a child demanding to do something which the child is not capable of. So because of that, one wants to become the boss. They don't know that the strongest power in the world is love and servitude. This is the biggest power. They think that control and ownership is the biggest power. But in reality, love and servitude is the biggest power. So therefore, for such people to understand that they will never become happy with this controllership and ownership mentality, instead they should understand who is Krishna. That will make them at peace. That will bring them at peace. Suppose you are in an ocean and you are stuck on a single boat. And for miles and miles you look around, there is nobody to rescue you. How will you feel? Proud? Will you feel in control? Sorry? Yeah, you will feel scared. You will feel who you are. You'll really feel humble. Suppose you are in front of a big mountain and you have no supplies of food and there is no one around you, and the only way is to cross that mountain, and the mountain is like 1 kilometer high. And it will take days to trek. How will you feel? Enjoyer?
You'll feel like the Lord of everything that you survey. I saw something very strange happening. At least 15 people entered that room. As they entered, nobody closed the door. And 15 times our Prabhu has to get up and close that door. That is also a sign of enjoyer mentality. I see every resource around me, it is for me to use and throw. I don't care for the comfort, I don't care for the privacy, and I don't care for the activities which are happening elsewhere. I want to walk in, so I'll just walk in, I'll just bang the door open. After that, I don't care. You see, it is very deep rooted in us. Very, very deep rooted in us, this enjoyer mentality. In one of the interviews, a person who left the door opened was straight away asked to leave. So closing the door behind you is very important. This may not be related to Bhagavad Gita, but it is very, very important for you to understand, for everybody to understand, that the world does not revolve around us. There are other people around me who also think that they are doing something important. Let me respect them. So Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. You can repeat with me. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and the will-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. So here is the statement. I gave the example that when you are in an ocean surrounded by nothing, you feel humble. When you are in front of a mountain and you see the mountain is very big, you feel humble. Similarly, when you understand how great is God, you will lose this enjoyer mentality. You will feel humble. You will give up this desire to lord over everything that you survey. Because who is the Lord? Krishna is telling. What are the three things which he says in this verse? Can someone read and tell me? They say God is great, but Bhagavad Gita tells you how great he is. Can someone give me 1 or 2 points, 3 points, 4 points from this verse? How great is God? Just read once and try to give me.
Beneficiary of all sacrifice.
Okay, he is the beneficiary of all sacrifices. What does that mean? Beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. What does that mean? Whatever we
Offer to God.
Whatever you offer to anyone. I like that. Why did you change it? Whatever you offer to anyone, ultimately it. When you say anyone, what do you mean?
Demigods.
Demigods, yes. So whatever sacrifices, what does the word sacrifice mean? Sorry? What does that mean? Any activity which is done to please the Lord is a sacrifice. Any activity. Do you think chanting your rounds daily is a sacrifice? Yajna. So are you all doing yajna on a daily basis or not? That is the question. Are you doing? What is that yajna called? Japa yajna. And when many people sit and do the japa together, it becomes Sankirtan yajna. So, who is the beneficiary of that? Who gets the results of that? Krishna. Austerities, any tapasya you perform, whom does it go to? Or whom should it be done for, rather? Yes. If you do not do the tapasya for Krishna, what will happen to your tapasya? Okay. Anything else?
Won't be complete.
That means something will be there. 80% will be there, 20% will not be there. It will have karmic reactions. Very, very good. If you do not perform tapasya for the Supreme Lord, for Lord Krishna, then it will have karmic reactions which will further entangle you in the cycle of birth and death. Lokoyam karma bandhana. And if you do not do it for the Lord, you have to do it for someone else. Then you will become either Ravan or Hiranyakashipu. Do you know that nobody has done in the past and nobody in the future will do tapasya like Hiranyakashipu? This is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Brahma has told that, "O son of Kashyap, nobody till now has done tapasya like you and nobody in the future will also do like you." But what is the value of his tapasya? Useless. How much time did Narasimhadev took to kill him? Moments. In few moments, full tapasya is finished. So if we do not do tapasya or sacrifices for God or Krishna, we have to do it for someone else, and that is binding in this material world. Okay, what is the next greatness or greatness? What is the next aspect of greatness mentioned in this verse? Sorry? Okay, well-wisher of all living entities. But can you go in sequence and tell me?
Lord of all planets. Lord of all planets.
Lord of all planets. What does that mean? What do you mean when you say I am the Lord of planet? Who is the Lord of planet Earth, by the way? Lord Krishna. Okay, very simple answer. But is there any human being who can say I am the Lord of this planet? I own everything here. Okay. How many planets are there in this universe? Sorry, 9 planets? 9 planets? Okay. You're coming for the first time today? Okay. Actually, there are innumerable planets, not just planets, but planetary systems in each universe. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are 14 planetary systems in this universe. How many such universes are there? Unlimited. The Chaitanya Charitamrita gives an explanation that just like in a bag of mustard seeds, there are unlimited mustard seeds. So similarly, this universe of ours is like a small mustard seed in a big bag of mustard seeds. And we are talking about material universes. That is Ekpada Vibhuti. That means 1/4 of the creation of the Lord is the material world with billions and trillions of universes, and each universe having various planetary systems. And according to the scriptures, life is not just there on earth. In the Bhagavad Gita, the soul, in the second chapter, Krishna gives many adjectives, visheshan, to the soul. One of the qualities, adjectives of the soul, which he says is sarvagataha, which means it exists everywhere. So when Krishna says soul exists everywhere, that means we should understand soul exists on the sun planet also. Soul exists on the moon planet also. Soul exists in the lower planetary systems also, higher planetary systems also. Just because we cannot see doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Otherwise, my question is, if there was no life on sun, how did Mother Kunti become pregnant with Karna? I mean, how did she give birth to Karna if there is no sun demigod? And how did Karna have further children? There are people existing on, in fact, yes, some time ago I was reading the Yamuna Ashtakam, the 8 verses written in the glorification of Yamuna river. It was said that Yamuna river flows on the sun also and the moon also. That means it is very clear that the idea which we have is an incomplete idea. Life exists everywhere. Of course, the bodily structure or the bodily composition of people on different planets is different. On Sun, they have the fiery element more. On Earth, we have the earth element more. But life is there everywhere. And Krishna says that he is the supreme lord of all planets. Does it mean that he is the lord of the planets of this universe? Or does it mean he is the lord of all the material universes? Or does it also mean that he is the lord of all the Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual world also? What does it mean? A, B, or C? He is the supreme proprietor, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. And then what is the third quality which you see here in this verse? Come on. I cannot hear anything. Yes, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. That means he is the best well-wisher of all living entities. Someone may feel that my father is my best well-wisher, my grandmother is my best well-wisher, but actually God is your best well-wisher. Sometimes your friend may not know what is best for you. Your friend wants to eat cake, so he will convince you to eat cake. This is the best for us. Let's go for it. It's the New Year time. It's raining. Yesterday, one of my friends was telling, it's raining. Eating pakoras is the best thing to do right now. I'm telling you, I'm your friend. That's the best thing to do. Like this, they will talk. But the best well-wisher means, who can be your best well-wisher? Only a person who knows your past. And only a person who knows what you're going through in your present. And only a person who knows how your future is going to be can actually be your best well-wisher. How many of you disagree with me? Now, how many of you have in your life a person who knows your past completely and who knows what you're going through in your personal present life presently? And how many of those will know what you will go through in future and accordingly act or deal with you? Do you have anyone like that? God is like that. You may not know your past, but God knows your past. You may not know your future, but God knows your future. You may not know what you are going through, but God knows what you are going through. Please trust me, every time when you make a prayer, God is hearing. But he will reciprocate in a way in which is the best for you and not in the way you want. And whatever he will do, he will try to take you back to Godhead through his approach. That's why it is said that God or Krishna, he is our best well-wisher. Demigods cannot be like that because they do not know what is the best for us. And the Bhagavad Gita says anybody who knows these three things, Bhoktaram, Yajñatapasam, Sarvalok Maheshwaram, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam. If anybody can understand these 3 points, that God is the supreme enjoyer. I am not the supreme enjoyer. God is the beneficiary of all yajna and sacrifice, tapasyas. Now, I should not try to enjoy the result of my tapasya. I should offer it to God. God is the owner of everything in all the planetary systems. And he is my best well-wisher. These 3 points, if you can understand, Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati. And the Bhagavad Gita says you will become peaceful for the rest of eternity. So we call this as the peace formula. So if God is the ultimate boss, moving to the next section, who is he? Is he a person or is an energy? Okay, how many of you say God is an energy? Please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's an energy. He's not a person. He's just an energy. How many of you say he's a person, not an energy? Interestingly, all the Prabhujis are saying he is a person. Most of them, not all the Matajis, but some of the Matajis said he's an energy. And then others, they are like, we don't want to say, we want to reserve our opinion. We'll tell when the class ends. Can I request, before we get into the discussion, all of you should either take the side of a person or an energy. Don't sit without raising your hand. How many of you think he is a person? Okay. How many of you think he's an energy? Okay. This is from the Bible. God created man in his own image. Next question. Do you think you are a person or an energy? Okay. Person with energy, but essentially a person, right? Are you a person or an energy? Person. So this is the statement of Bible. God made man in his own image. So if your image, or if you have grown in the image of God, then what do you think God will be? Or energy? Okay. So either you are wrong or Bible is wrong. Someone has to be wrong. Now I will give you more detail from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Shloka number 11. Vadanti tatta tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan niti shabdayate. Learned transcendentalists know the absolute truth. Know the absolute truth and call this non-dual substance as Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. This basically means, what does the word transcendentalist means? Who's above? Who's above the modes of material nature? Yes. That means who is above, who has understood, any person who has understood that I am not this body, I am a spirit soul. I am not the mind, I am not the intelligence, but I am the spirit soul. And who has understood that the purpose of life is Brahma Jigyasa, that means they have to find out who is the supreme, that person can be called as a transcendentalist. Okay? Tattva Vidas. Tattva means the truth, Vidas means who know. Vadanti tatta tattva Vidas. Tattvam yajnanam advayam. So there are three levels in which that supreme absolute truth is described. What are the three levels? Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Which of them is correct? Sorry? All are correct? Or only one is correct? Brahman, Paramatma is correct. So Brahman is wrong, Bhagavan is wrong. All are correct actually. The supreme absolute truth can be understood. Who is the supreme? What is the supreme absolute truth? God is the supreme absolute truth. So God can be understood in three levels. That is Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Okay? So when you say energy, we are talking about Brahman. When you say person, you are talking about Paramatma or Bhagavan. So now, you will say, if you are saying it can be understood in three possible ways, that means my answer that God is an energy was right. Yes, it was right. But the fact that the supreme absolute truth is a person is also right. So now we will understand how. Keeping in mind this verse, learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. Please take note, all three are right, but they are different in their levels of understanding.
They talk about all this non-dual. What is that non-dual?
God. Advayam. One who has no second. One who, there's no one like him or her or whatever. For the present matter, Tattva, that subject matter of discussion which does not have a second, is called Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. That is the In the later verses, the Bhagavatam reveals what is that non-dual substance. We will also discuss, but for the present discussion's sake, you consider it at this level only, non-dual substance. What is that substance? We will discuss. So what does the word Brahman mean? Brahman means the supreme power in the form of energy. Paramatma means, so Brahman means something which is all pervading, which is there everywhere. Brahman. Something which is beyond matter is also Brahman. So therefore people say Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahma Asmi, Main Brahma hu. I am Brahma. I am spiritual. I am a spirit soul. Aham Brahmasmi. So Brahman means something which is beyond matter, which is completely spiritual, which is beyond the modes of material nature, and which is all pervading. Even if you go to the Amazon forest, the Brahman is there. This is the understanding. What does the word Paramatma mean? Param Atma. You are Atma? Are you an Atma? Confused. You are an Atma. So Paramatma means that form of, for example, Brahman meant supreme power in the form of energy, which is all pervading, beyond matter, spiritual, completely spiritual. So similarly, Paramatma is supreme power, which is, or that form of existence, which is omnipresent, that is all pervading, and omnipotent, completely in control of everything. They say, Bhagwan ki iksha ki bina ek patta bhi nahi hilta. Not even a blade of grass moves without the desire of God. So that aspect of God which controls everything is called Paramatma. That aspect of God which is staying with every soul. We say Bhagwan hamare man mein hai. So there is an expansion of a localized expansion of God which stays with us in our heart. That is called as Paramatma. And what is Bhagwan? The person who is very merciful and very inconceivable, who is the supreme personality. Like you are also person, I am also person. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam Eko Bahunam Yuvidadhati Kaman. You are eternal, I am eternal, he is eternal. You have a consciousness, I have a consciousness, he also has a consciousness. But the difference between us and him is that we are maintained by him and he is the maintainer. That is God. So God can be understood in three levels: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Now let me explain it to you with more details so that you can understand fully. You see, what do you see in this picture? You see some mountains. In the first picture, you see a mountain from quite far. So if somebody asks you, how does a mountain look like? What will your answer be? It looks like some green bed sheet. Put somewhere. Bluish green bed sheet. But if you go a little bit closer, what you will see? Sorry? You will see some rocks. So in the first picture, you see like it's just like some kind of a sheet. You cannot differentiate anything here. But if you go a little closer, you'll see that there are some valleys, there are some trees, there is some vegetation, there is some farming. Things are going on. If you go further closer, what you'll see? You'll find some people staying there. Those people will be talking some language. Those people will have an emotion. Not an emotion, many emotions. And those people will want to have a relationship with you. Those people will like few things. Those people will dislike few things. But this kind of understanding you cannot have when you're looking at the mountain from so far. The more closer you go, the more better an understanding you get. Another example which I would like to give is the example of sunlight, sun, and the demigod sun. So there are some people who worship the sunlight. I've shown it in the picture here. There are many people who like to get up early in the morning, and with the first rays of, they'll check what is the sunrise time, and then they'll be waiting for the sun to rise, and at that time they will offer arghya to the sun, or they'll start doing Surya Namaskar. That is called worship of the sunlight. Now many people, they are higher. They understand that this sunlight is coming from the sun globe or the sun planet. So they will worship the sun planet. They will not just start becoming active in the sunlight. They will wait for the sun globe to become visible, and they will understand this sunlight which is being worshipped. The source of the sunlight is the sun globe. So let me worship the sun globe. Have you seen people doing that? How many of you are from Bihar, Jharkhand, UP region? So there is a puja called Chhat Puja. Have you seen that? What do they do there? They wait in water with milk and other offerings in their hand, and they wait for the sun to rise. And as the sun rises, when they see the globe, then they do the arghya. So that means this form of worship is little higher than worship of the sunlight. And then there is another person who knows that this light from the sun doesn't come from the sun globe, but it is being controlled by a person who resides there, whose name is Vivaswan, whose name is mentioned in the Gita. Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanaham Avyayam Vivaswan Manave Praha Manur Ikshvakave Bravit. The personality of Godhead said, Lord Shri Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to sun god Vivaswan, and Vivaswan gave it to Manu. Manu gave it to father of mankind. Manu is the father of mankind, gave it to Ikshvaku. So like this, even in terms of sun, we have three different understandings. The most primary understanding is the sunlight, then the sun globe, and then the presiding deity of the sun planet, that is Vivaswan. So who controls the sunlight? Vivaswan. So if you want to, which is the most highest form of worship? Suppose if you want to worship, which is the most highest form of worship in this specific case? Worship of sunlight or the sun globe or Vivaswan? Anybody has any doubt? So that is in the similar way, a student who is a student of sunlight is considered to be a knower of Brahman. A person who understands that the sunlight comes from the sun globe is little more advanced. Then he can be called, he's not Paramatma realized, but he's knowing things a little higher. So he's like that person who knows the higher aspect of God, that is Paramatma. And similarly, one who knows that ultimately the sunlight is being controlled by a person. Because of the presence of that person, things are moving around. So therefore, Bhagwan. So similarly, God can also be perceived as Brahman, that is impersonal light, energy, which is all pervading, commonly called as Brahma Jyoti or Brahman. Or he can be perceived as Paramatma, the all omnipresent and omnipotent form of God, which is residing in the heart of each and every living entity, called the Paramatma. Or else he can be understood as the supreme absolute person who has feelings, who has likes, who has dislikes, who has a desire to cultivate a relationship with you. That is a person, Krishna. Now, which of them is the correct understanding? Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagwan? Sorry? No, all three are correct. I asked in the beginning, which of them is correct? But which of them is the most highest realization of God? Bhagwan. This I want. Why am I taking so much time to explain you? Because this is the basic of spiritual life. Don't get bewildered when you read various kinds of Bhagavad Gita. As I have been saying that there are 500 versions of Bhagavad Gita in the market. Some Bhagavad Gitas will tell you that the God is Brahman. Some Bhagavad Gitas will tell you that God is Paramatma. Some Bhagavad Gita will tell you God is Bhagwan. But the Bhagavad Gita as it is, written by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, is such a powerful and such an original version of the Bhagavad Gita. Today in the morning, I was hearing a lecture. A person who has been distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. One second, I'll just... I'll just turn the hotspot on. Okay, Wi-Fi will work. Hare Krishna. So, mic is not there, we'll have to adjust. Those of you who are not able to listen, please come back. And those who are coming and going out of the kitchen, make sure you please close the door behind you. So, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. So, all three are correct, but the Bhagwan realization is the highest realization. Today in the morning, I was hearing a lecture where someone who has been distributing Srila Prabhupada's books from a long time highlighted his encounter with a person who has been studying the Gita for the last 40 years. He knew in and out of Bhagavad Gita. But then very recently, he got Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is. And he was recounting that when he was reading Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, he was in tears. He was telling that until I read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, I did not know Bhagavad Gita only. In fact, he went on to comment that definitely Srila Prabhupada would have been there in Kurukshetra when Lord Krishna would have been explaining it to Arjuna, because this is the level of understanding which this kind of understanding which he has given. It is as if I am hearing directly from Krishna. This is it. So, the Bhagavad Gita as it is such a potential book that after reading it, the Koreans, the Japanese, the Americans, the Indonesians, the Pakistanis, the Canadians and the Germans, and all the people of the world have become devotees of Krishna. And now they are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This has not been achieved or accomplished by any other Bhagavad Gita. Because the other Bhagavad Gitas do not tell you this truth about Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagwan. They will tell you something which they understand. The supreme absolute form of God is the two-handed form of God, which is the Shyam Sundar form of God. Arjuna was seeing the universal form of God in the 11th chapter. He didn't like it. He said, please show me your four-handed form. So then Krishna showed him the four-handed Vishnu form. And then after that, Arjuna requested that you please show me the two-handed form. So Krishna showed him the two-handed form. After that, did Arjuna make any further request? No. So Srila Prabhupada explains that the two-handed form of Krishna is the source of the four-handed Vishnu forms, and the four-handed Vishnu form is the source of the universal form. So similarly, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahmano hi pratisthaham. That means I am the source of Brahman. So this Brahman which you see on the left-hand side of the screen is not there. So the Brahman which you see here, the source of this Brahman is Krishna. Please understand. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. That means I am the basis of the Brahman. But there are some so-called transcendentalists which ignore this verse of Bhagavad Gita and explain you that Brahman is the source of Krishna. They will tell you that God has no form. God is some energy. Of course, he is energy. But God is not just energy. He is the energetic. He is the possessor of energies. God is not Shakti. He is Shaktiman. This is something very important which we have to understand. Otherwise, spiritual life goes for a toss. They will teach you wrong conceptions. They will teach you that the aim of life is to merge in this light. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, that, O Arjuna, all these kings and soldiers were existing in the past. They are existing now and standing in front of you, and they will continue to exist in the future. That means there is no concept of merging. In the past also they were there, now also they are here, in future also they will be there. That means the spirit soul does not lose its individuality at any point of time. If there is a green guava tree with tasty guavas and a green colored parrot enters the green guava tree to eat the green guava, and you are seeing it from a huge distance, it will appear that the parrot has gone and merged into the tree. Correct? You will not be able to differentiate where is the parrot, where is the tree. You cannot make a difference. But does it mean that the parrot has stopped existing? No. So similarly, there is a school of philosophers called the Mayavadi who say that God has no form. They put a limitation on God, that I have a form and this form is giving me so many troubles. So if there is someone who is completely blissful, then he must not have a form. Is this a very convincing argument? Don't pay attention to the television, pay attention to me. I have a form and this form is full of miseries, and I wanted to be the supreme enjoyer. I could not become a supreme enjoyer having this form. So if there is a supreme enjoyer, he must not have a form. Is this a very convincing argument? That is their statement. They say that the supreme absolute truth is Brahman. We do not disagree with that. And they say that this supreme absolute truth takes a form which is made up of Maya when they come to the material world. That means Krishna or God, who is Brahman, when he comes to this material world as Krishna or Rama, he takes a form which is made out of Maya. This is a very, very stupid statement. And then they will say, we are all gods. But we have forgotten that we are God. That means this creation of God, which is Maya, is more powerful than God also. Do you see the flaw in the statement? God they will agree with that verse, Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Lok Maheshwaram. But then they will say, all of us are gods, and we are in Maya, and we have forgotten that we are in Maya. We have forgotten that we are God. That means the Maya Shakti is more powerful than God also. Then what is the point of studying Bhagavad Gita, and what is the point of discussing God as a subject matter? If Shakti can overpower Shaktiman, then what's the point of discussing anything? The Vaishnav Siddhant or the Bhagavad Gita says that Shakti is always subordinate to Shaktiman. Shaktiman is the boss, Shakti is the employee. And role reversal can never happen. And Krishna says it very clearly, Brahmano hi pratishtha. That the source or the basis of Brahman is me. So Brahman exists because of Krishna. Krishna doesn't exist because of Brahman. We do not deny the statement that Krishna is Brahman, but then we also say that Krishna is beyond Brahman. Because Arjuna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Parabrahma param dhamam pavitram paramam bhavan. Parabrahma means somebody who is beyond Brahman. So saying that God is Brahman is not wrong, but to say that God has no form is wrong. We have to show them some Bhagavad Gita verses. Similarly, the Paramatma concept. The people who are Mayavadis, they do not believe in the Paramatma concept. But then the higher than Mayavadis is a class of philosophers known as the Brahmavadis, who believe in the existence of God as Paramatma in everybody's heart. So if you see this picture, You will see the Paramatma is shown in the heart of a lion also, in a tiger also, in a human being also, in a dog also, everywhere. And that form of Paramatma is the four-handed form of Vishnu. Paramatma. So all the yogis who are sitting in deep meditation, the goal of their life is to see this four-handed form of Lord Vishnu in the core of their heart. It is there in everybody's heart. The goal of life is to see that. Brahma, they are called as Brahmavadis. They are higher. Can you take this call? Somebody is desperately calling me. So, higher Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan are all valid understandings of the non-dual substance or the supreme absolute truth. However, the understanding of Paramatma is higher than the understanding of Brahman, and the understanding of Bhagwan is the highest realization of God, higher than both Brahman and Paramatma. How many of you have not understood this? I'm ready to explain it all over again. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. If you get this right now, then for the rest of life, you will be stable in Krishna consciousness. But if you don't get this right, then all your life you will be wandering. Yes. You have a question? Yes.
Why, if all are same, then why the different names are there? Like,
I didn't say all are same. I said all are valid.
yeah, so all are valid. So,
But the level of understanding is different. The level of realizations are different. You have a small child, right? If the small child comes and asks you how my food gets digested, what you will explain? That you have to eat, go out and play, food will get digested. But if your child becomes 10 years older from now, how you will explain? That there is a digestive system. You have a stomach, you have a liver, you have some secretion, bile, etc., etc. Digestion starts from the mouth, so chew your food nicely. And if suppose your child enters the medicine branch of study, then how he will explain you after that? In different way. So which is correct amongst all three? All three are correct. But which is more advanced in realization and understanding? The third one. Correct? So that's what we are saying. We are not saying that this is wrong. The Supreme Absolute can be truth. Truth can be understood as either as Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagwan. But we are saying that the Bhagwan realization is the highest realization. And Brahman realization is the lower realization. Is it clear? Yes, your question, sir.
When we say the Bhagwan has the two-handed form,
That is the highest original form of the Lord.
how do we differentiate between the two-handed form that we see in humans, with bones and flesh and skin? How that is different for Bhagwan?
You have to die. You have to die. You have to become old. You have to fall sick. You have to take birth. All these four things don't happen with God. Have you seen a picture of Krishna where some beard and some white hair is there? Have you ever heard that Krishna became sick? So the difference is, I'm drilling this point in the hearts and the minds of the students that you're not the body, you're not the mind, you're not the intelligence, you're the spirit soul. That means your body is different from you. But for Krishna, that is not the case. There is no difference between the spirit of Krishna and the body of Krishna. Everything is spiritual. Your body is not spiritual. It is material. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Combination of that. But Krishna's body is not earth, water, fire, air, ether. It is completely spiritual. In fact, you can say that everything is there in Krishna's body only. The whole universe is there in his belly. That is the difference. When Mother Yashoda opened the mouth of Krishna, she could see the entire universe, all the demigods, Brahma, Chandra, Indra, Shiva, Vishnu, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Kinnaras, all the planetary systems, Narad Muni. She could see even herself in the mouth of Krishna. But if your mother opens your mouth, what she will see? Foul smell. Or the mango which you have eaten, the smell of that mango. Now do you understand what is the difference between your body and Krishna's body? Did you understand?
There is difference.
Your body is material. Krishna's body is not material, it is spiritual. This much you understand, that is more than enough. There is a difference between you and your body. But in case of Krishna, there is no difference between Krishna and the body of Krishna. Everything is spiritual. This much if you can understand, you are good to go.
Is it okay to say that our spirit soul also will have some form, infinitesimal form of the larger?
Your spirit soul has a spiritual form. You have a material body, you have a subtle body. Similarly, you have a spiritual body also. This is the material body which we see. A human being, male, female, whatever. Similarly, we have a subtle body, which is made out of mind, intelligence, and ego. False ego, primarily. And the spiritual body also has a form. Each one of us who are sitting here, we have a unique service to Krishna in the spiritual world. Now we are here in this material world, it's not that somebody has replaced us. Our service is not happening and Krishna is missing us. So we have a spiritual form in the spiritual world to serve Krishna in some rasa, in some mellow. That is our spiritual form. So when we become advanced in Krishna consciousness, by the mercy of spiritual master, you will realize what is your spiritual form. And when you will give up your body, you will go back home, back to Godhead and reassume your services. And each one of us has a unique relationship with Krishna. It's not like both me and my friend, we are both serving Krishna in the same department. No, it's a very unique relationship. All of us have a unique relationship with God. And that relationship or that rasa, we say God is the supreme enjoyer, that enjoyment which God gets by being with us, no one else can give except us. So when we are not there serving Him, He is missing us. He is waiting when they will come back. He is taking avatars and coming. He is speaking the Bhagavad Gita. He is giving the Srimad Bhagavatam. He is sending His confidential associates like Prabhupada. He is printing the Bhagavad Gita and getting it distributed in millions so that people can read and understand Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Abandon all varieties of religions and just surrender unto me. He wants this and He demands it. Another difference between your body and Krishna's body is that you keep changing your body every lifetime. Krishna never changes his body. Change of body means loss of memory. Otherwise, why will Krishna say, my dear Arjuna, both you and me have had many, many births. I remember all of them, but you have forgotten. Why? Because Arjuna changed his body every time. With every life, with every birth. That's why he forgot everything. But Krishna never changes his body. He comes, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. He comes by his internal potency in the self-same original spiritual form every time. So because he is not changing his body, he remembers everything. Is that clear? Krishna's body is Satchid Anand, full of knowledge, eternal and full of bliss. My body and your body is Asat, Achit and Niranand. It is not eternal. It is certainly not full of bliss and not full of all knowledge, completely in ignorance. Can I ask you a personal question? Do you know whether you will be able to clear your stomach fully tomorrow morning? That is the difference between you and Krishna. Krishna knows everything. You are claiming that it is your head. But if I ask you, how many hairs you have on your head? Can you answer? But Krishna knows how many hairs is on his head and your head and everybody else's head. That is the difference between your body and Krishna's body. Now do you understand? Yes. Why? Yes, yes. Good question. Why is God not a female? Why a male only, Baba? This is so much discrimination. First of all, they say India is not a safe place to stay for females. And now I'm studying Bhagavad Gita and they're telling me that God is a male. Why is this discrimination? Why can't God be female? What is the answer to this question? Anybody would like to attempt? The answer is God is neither male, neither female. God is God. God is enjoyer. He is the Purusha. The word Purusha means enjoyer. Prakriti means enjoyed. Essentially, we are Prakriti. There is only one Purusha, that is Krishna. Everybody else is Prakriti. Write it down. There is only one enjoyer, only one Purusha, that is Krishna. Everybody else is meant to be enjoyed by God, that is Prakriti. So essentially speaking, man is also woman. Woman is also woman. But the problem is that man wants to be the enjoyer and woman also wants to be the enjoyer. Therefore, this question. Therefore, this question. Man is also a woman. Woman is also a woman. Both man and woman are meant to serve God. This differentiation of man and woman does not exist at the spiritual platform. I repeat, this differentiation of man and woman does not exist at the spiritual platform. At that platform where there is no differentiation between man and woman, at that platform, God is the Purusha, enjoyer. And everybody else is supposed to be enjoyed by God. There is only one Purusha, that is Krishna. Everybody else is Prakriti. Now it is clear, Mataji? Why God is only depicted as a man? Not because he is a man, he is the Purusha. And everybody else is to be enjoyed by God. So those who have a male body, it's not that they are Purushas. They are also Prakriti only. Only one Purusha is there. Are you happy with this answer? Now, if I ask you, is God a male or a female, what will your answer be? He's the only Purusha. He's the only enjoyer. Male doesn't mean enjoyer. Female doesn't mean enjoyer. Only God is the enjoyer. And because we are thinking that male body is a more beneficial body, need not suffer so much, enjoys more, gets around more. So we are thinking, oh, this is partiality. A woman body has some limitations. So it is partiality that God is shown as male. No, no. God is not having a physical form like you and me. Now, if you can again ask me this question, why God wears only yellow dhoti, what I'll answer? It is his choice. Why God has bluish black hair? It is his choice. Why God chooses to graze the cows? It is his choice. Similarly, the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a 14-15-year-old boy who wears yellow dhoti, who is the last word in beauty, who has a bluish black hair, who can do anything, but he chooses to graze the cows and he likes to play the flute. This is God. Now, if you ask me why, I will answer, you better go and meet him and ask. Why you did not become a female? Do you know the first expansion of God is Balram? And you know what is the second expansion of God? So how you can say God is not female? God is female also. But the original form of the Lord is the God, I mean the Shyam Sundar form. See, God is Paramatma. What do you mean to be a female? You know what it means to be a female. But more than you, the Paramatma which is there in your heart knows what it means to be a female. You are a female in this lifetime. In your previous lifetime, who knows who you were? So who is the original person who is either a male or a female? It is God only. But the original form of God is Purusha. Purusha doesn't mean the Purush and Stri. Like on toilet it is written Purush idhar jaye, Stri udhar jaye. that Purush and Stri we are not referring to. That Purush and Stri is the physical differentiation on the physical platform. But when you rise above the material platform, when you understand you are not the body or the spirit soul is neither male or female. Please understand. Spirit soul is neither male nor female. Spirit soul is just a servant of Krishna. Now, whatever service the spirit soul has, based on that, it takes a spiritual form. Even in the spiritual world, there are some male, there are some female. So why a particular soul has a spiritual body as a male? And why a particular soul has a spiritual body of a female? Just to serve God. Look at Srimati Radharani. In Chaitanya Leela, she became Gadadhar Pandit. You see on the right hand side of the altar, there is the photo of Panchtattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. On the right hand side, there is a person in blue dhoti, Nityananda. On further right is combination of Sadashiv and Mahavishnu, that is Sri Advaita Acharya. On the left hand side of Lord Chaitanya is Gadadhar Pandit, that is Srimati Radharani. Again, someone may say, how Srimati Radharani became a male? Because male and female is not important. Service to Krishna is important. So please come out of this material designation. Male, female, cat, dog, Indian, Australian, German, engineer, doctor, lawyer. These are not relevant in spiritual life. Spiritual life means there is only one Purusha, Krishna. Everybody else is Prakriti. So is man a woman or not? Is woman a woman or not? So everybody is a woman? Do you agree that everybody is a woman? Agreed?
Why do you say that?
Were you there when the discussion was going on?
Very hard.
Yes.
But I mean, the meaning of these words, Prabhuji, is that
We are talking, please understand the frame of reference from which we are talking. Don't mix the generic context and the specific discussion which we are having here. The discussion here is there is only one Purusha. The word Purusha does not mean the male body. The word Purusha means enjoyer. And everybody else except God is meant to be enjoyed by God. So in one sense, everybody else is Prakriti.
Understood. So that no comment on that.
So with that perspective, we are speaking that Prakriti is generally represented as a feminine form.
That is okay.
And Purusha is the male form. So in one way, man is also to be enjoyed by God. Woman is also to be enjoyed by God. So man is also woman. Man is also Prakriti.
I understand, but the original question itself, why is it? Is because the depiction, I understand that there is Krishna is neither man or woman. I get that completely. But the original question, why is it? Is because the depiction is that on one hand. That is the reason for the question.
Yes.
Depict the same.
No. Because see, it's not a depiction. It is the statement of the scriptures. God is like this. God has this form and this is his original form. God has multiple forms, but this is the original form of God. The Shastras say this, the Bhagavatam says this, the Bhagavad Gita says this. We see this in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is the original form of God. This is God. And he has various expansions like Balram and Srimati Radharani. So Srimati Radharani also has a specific form. She likes to wear blue sari. She has a golden yellow complexion. That is her form. And in one way, there is no difference between Radha and Krishna. They are the same soul, different bodies. Sir, are you paying attention to what I'm saying? Your question. I was trying to answer your question.
I don't completely agree, but that's okay. You see, because it goes back to scripture. this is what is written, then there is no more discussion, right? That's why I'm keeping quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
I understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay. So I agree with that.
The problem here is that why they say God, they show God as male all the time. Because they assess the form of God with the human male form of the God. They start comparing. That is the problem. And that's why they have a problem that why can't he be a female? They do not understand that this form of the Lord is transcendental. They do not understand that the way threefold bended form, the way he stands, nobody can stand more than 2 minutes like that. They do not understand that in the same form he has lifted Govardhan and he has done so many pastimes. They assess it to be, or they compare it, or they start. It's like the well in the frog philosophy. A frog is there in a well and all he knows is the well. So he makes the well as the point of reference for all further discussion. That well frog can never understand that there is an ocean which is millions and millions times greater than the well. It can never understand because it has no experience. Similarly, when we see this Shyam Sundar form of the Lord, having 2 hands, 2 legs, 2 ears, 2 eyes, we think this is like the human form. And so therefore we start making comparisons. Why not female? Why not male? Why this? Why that? They do not understand that this is not a human form. It is a transcendental form. A human being cannot taste anything with the toe of his foot. Please listen to me very, very carefully. A human being cannot taste anything with the toe of his foot, but Krishna can taste anything by the toe of his foot also, by the tip of his finger also, by the tip of his tongue also, by his glance also. That is the difference between Krishna and human beings. There is a verse in Brahma Samhita which further explains this. That in a human body, a specific sense organ does a specific activity, but Krishna can do anything and everything with any of his body parts. When he was walking in Mathura, he went to a washerman and he told, "You please give me a cloth to wear." The washerman said, "No, this cloth belongs to Kamsa. I cannot give you. Are you crazy? You are asking for the king's cloths." So at that time, Krishna says, "Okay, if you will not give me, I'll have to punish you." And the washerman doesn't listen. So Krishna just takes his hand and with his hand, he severs the neck of the washerman. So at that time, Acharyas explained that his hand served like a sword. With his hand, he cut the neck of someone. So any body part of Krishna can do anything. So therefore, when you see a human-like form, please do not mistake it to be a human form. It is the transcendental form of the Lord. In which other human being's mouth will you see the whole universe? It's not possible. Mother Yashoda was trying to bind the belly of Krishna. She was finding that the rope of Krishna is always falling rope with which she is trying to tie the belly of Krishna is always falling 2 fingers short. The rope was of 2 meters. She brought another 2 meters rope. 2 plus 2 is how much? Now she should definitely be able to tie the rope around his belly, but still it was 2 inches short. She brought another 2 meters rope, 6 meters, still it was 2 inches short. She joined all the ropes which is in Nanda Bhavan and in her neighbors' houses. The rope became kilometers long and she's trying to do this activity since morning and evening, and the waist of her son is not bigger than her fist, but still always the rope is falling 2 inches short. This is the body of Krishna. Inconceivable, beyond your understanding. That is God. Srila Jiva Goswami writes in the Shad Sandarbhas that one of the important characteristics of God is that he is achintya, beyond your understanding. If he comes within the limit of your understanding, then either you will become God or you will make someone God. He says that in order for a sadhaka to remain humble while worshipping his worshipable deity, the worshipable deity should be achintya. Otherwise, it's not possible to worship. If you can understand your worshipable deity completely, why you will worship? You will predict what he or she is going to do. But Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, not these demigods, not the sages, or nobody in this world understands me or knows me, but I know everybody. Nobody knows me because I am their source. Brahma is sitting and thinking that he is creating the universe. He doesn't know that he is the secondary creator. Lord Shiva is destroying everything. He doesn't know that the power of destruction comes from God. Indra is thinking that he is the proprietor of rains. He doesn't know that his power comes from Krishna. The sages, they don't know Krishna perfectly. The demigods don't know Krishna perfectly. Even the residents of spiritual world, they also do not know Krishna fully. That is God. Okay? Everybody is satisfied? Any other further questions, comments, agreements, disagreements? Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. Now, how Krishna is the source of Brahman? Quickly, I will cover a few verses, and in the next 10 minutes, we will end the session. Brahmano hi pratisthaham amritasya vayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya cha. Krishna says in the 14th chapter, shloka number 27, I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So Brahmana or Brahma Jyoti contains the happiness of Brahman, Brahma Anand. He says, I am the basis of that Brahman. So here is the proof that Krishna is the source of Brahman. So anybody says that Krishna is Brahman, you can say, of course it is correct, but Krishna is beyond Brahman also. Bhagavad Gita chapter 14, shloka number 27. Another reference from Brahma Samhita. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti shvashesha vasudhadi vibhuti bhinnam tad brahma nishkalam adantam ashesha bhutam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose effulgence is the source of the non-differentiated Brahman mentioned in the Upanishads, being differentiated from the infinity of glories of mundane universe, appears as indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. Arjuna specifically asks this question to Lord Krishna. I know still some doubt will be there in some people's mind. Is God a person or an energy? I repeat, is God a person or an energy? Arjuna knew that in Kali Yuga, many people will have this doubt despite so many clarifications. So he asks Krishna specifically. Arjuna uvacha. Please repeat. Evam satata yuktaye bhaktastvām paryupasate ye chapya aksharam avyaktam tesham ke yoga vittamah. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be more perfect? Those who always properly engage in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Question is very clear, right? Arjuna is asking, who is better? Worshippers of your Brahman form or worshippers of your personal form? How many of you think if you get this answer to this question, your doubt will be solved forever? Everybody? Are you ready for the answer? Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Vesha Mano Ye Mam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetas Te Me Yuktatmata Matah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with the great transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Is the question answered for the rest of eternity? Will you ever have doubt again? Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. Is that doubt resolved or not? Who is more perfect? Bhagwan worshipper or Brahman worshipper? Why? Because God says that. Okay? You're worshipping God as Brahman and you're worshipping God as Krishna. And God wants you to worship him as Krishna. So why you want to unnecessarily take the trouble? Until unless you really don't want to worship God and you want to do something which you want, you can continue. But otherwise, if you really want to please God and serve God, this is the answer. Mai aveshya manoye mam nitya yukta upasate shraddhaya parayopetastame yukta tamamataha. Those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. And then someone may say, no, still I will go on the Brahman path. So just to answer them, Krishna says, Kleshodhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavad bhiravapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. Who is saying this? Who is saying this? Lord Krishna is saying that if you want to follow the Brahman path, my dear Jivatma, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Always. See the words which Krishna is using. Avyakta hi gatir dukkham devad bhera avapyate. But no, still I want to do that. Krishna is telling very troublesome, I will still do that. Krishna is telling very difficult, no, still I'll do that. This really means that you don't like Krishna. You want something else. Is God an energy or a person? Very good. How will you worship God as? Energy or person? My job is successful. Are there one God or many gods? Who is God? See, sometimes it is seen that if a rich man is distributing some nice gulab jamuns and roti and sabzi, all the poor people will, aap hamare liye Bhagwan hai. Bhagwan aapke sakshat Bhagwan aapke roop mein aa gaye. That's good. For example, if I start distributing chola bhatura, many people will call me Bhagwan, correct? Dekho, haan bhi bola. Now let's move a little bit higher. A person who has some siddhi, gold locket, one golden egg, some vibhuti, he'll be considered as God, right? Bhagwan, worship him. They don't know that the amount of gold which that so-called Bhagwan is producing, more gold than that Bhima Jewelers is producing. So why don't you worship Bhima Jewelers in your house instead of worshipping that human being who is cheating everybody? Similarly, if somebody is distributing chola bhatura, please understand that simply by distributing chola bhatura, one cannot become God. So therefore, who is God? There has to be some definition. There has to be a basis in which we can accept someone as God. Somebody can summon some supernatural power. That doesn't mean that he is or she is God. There are people who have siddhis. There are 8 kinds of siddhis. It is mentioned in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, and how to attain that siddhis is also mentioned. Now, many people will say, Prabhuji, Bhagavatam kidhar milega? 8 kinds of siddhis. If somebody wants to eat a pomegranate coming freshly from Afghanistan, there is a siddhi by which you can just get it. It's called as praptya. I forget the name of that siddhi. Basically, you can get whatever you want. You want pomegranate from Afghanistan, you'll get it. There is another siddhi called Vashita Siddhi, by which you can control the mind of everybody. Some magicians use it. One of the sections of Vashita Siddhi is Chakshu Bandhan. They can create an image in front of your eyes which doesn't exist. So there are some magicians who take you in front of Taj Mahal and they make the whole Taj Mahal disappear and they again bring it back. That is a siddhi. They will chant a mantra by which you will not be able to see on your chakshu, on your eyes, there will be a bandhan, there will be an avarana, there will be a covering, and you cannot see Taj Mahal. And then they'll remove it, you can see the Taj Mahal. So is that magician God? There is a siddhi by which the yogis, they dip in the Gangotri and they come out in the Yamuna. In 1 minute, they can have bath in all the holy rivers of India in 1 minute. And the person who has that siddhi, will you consider him to be God? There is a siddhi by the means of which all the rivers in the universe can be connected. And you can travel from one planetary system to another planetary system just by dipping yourself in a river of a particular planet. The Srimad Bhagavatam talks about it, how the 4 Kumaras in their planet, they dipped in Ganges and they came out at the end or at the bottom of universe when they went to meet Sankarshan to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from him. And it was depicted, it was shown in that verse that their hairs were still wet. That means they traveled through the means of water from one planet to another. That's also a siddhi. So a person who has that siddhi, will you consider them to be God? There is a siddhi by the means of which you can just vanish from a particular place and appear in a wonderful siddhi, no traffic jam, nothing. I want to go to ISKCON Kanamangala. Narayan, Narayan. Gone, Narayan, come here. If somebody is doing that, is he God? These are some valid siddhis. 11th canto of Bhagavatam highlights those siddhis and tells you the way to get those siddhis also. But that is not the right reason to buy Bhagavatam. If you want to purchase Srimad Bhagavatam, I will encourage you. Please read Srimad Bhagavatam. The Bhagavad Gita contains the instructions of Krishna. But if you want to see Krishna walking the talk, someone can say, hey, Krishna is too demanding, man. He's telling Sarva Dharman Parityaj. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me. How can he speak like that? Did he ever surrender to someone? Someone can ask this question. So if you really want to see what are the dealings of God with his devotees and how he conducts himself, you have to read Bhagavatam. And when you will read Bhagavatam, you will become more convinced that yes, this Bhagavad Gita is the truth. So for that reason, if you really want to know how God works with his devotees and what is the relationship which he has with his devotees, and how God, although he is the supreme boss, but at the same time, he is the supreme servant of his devotees. For that reason, you should buy Srimad Bhagavatam. I seriously feel that every gentleman should have Srimad Bhagavatam in their house. They should quickly, seriously and sincerely finish reading the Srimad Bhagavad Gita and pick up the Srimad Bhagavatam and start reading. So how many of you are inspired to have a Srimad Bhagavatam in your house? Please raise your hands. So this is the book marathon month. In this month, if you take Srimad Bhagavatam, it helps. ISKCON all over the world has taken a vrata of distributing 30 lakh books. How many? So your contribution will come there. This world is full of ignorance, and the books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are the only source of light. When these books, they go anywhere, they are very, very powerful. The scriptures say that in any house, if Srimad Bhagavatam resides, all the demigods, they come on a daily basis in that house and offer obeisances to Srimad Bhagavatam and leave. Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the literary incarnation of Krishna. You see the form of Krishna, he has a hand, neck, chest, flute, waist, thighs, feet, face, hair. So different cantos of Bhagavatam are considered to be different body parts of Krishna. The first and second canto of Bhagavatam are considered to be the two lotus feet of Krishna. The 10th canto is supposed to be the face of Krishna. So how many of you want to take only the feet of Krishna and not the face? And how many of you want to take the face and not the feet? You want to take Krishna full, right? So don't come and say, Prabhuji, give me one book. You have to take the whole set. Srimad Bhagavatam comes as a set. Just to encourage you, every day we do a Srimad Bhagavatam reading session also. In that we are systematically, sincerely and seriously trying to read Srimad Bhagavatam. So you can join those reading sessions also to understand how to read Srimad Bhagavatam. Once you start reading Srimad Bhagavatam, life will never be the same again. Because you will completely become a lover of God. Because you will see this person, Krishna. He's speaking like this in Bhagavad Gita. But trust me, he's doing more than what he's speaking in the association of his devotees. This Bhagavad Gita is just a glimpse of his super excellence and magnitude and love for his devotees. The real glimpse you'll get in Srimad Bhagavatam. You know, amongst all the devotees of Krishna, which is their most favorite scripture, you know? Srimad Bhagavatam. It is Purana Amalam. There is no anything which is mundane in this book. Everything is completely spiritual. This is the purest and the most mature creation of Vedvyas. Vedvyas, when he wrote all the Puranas and the Upanishads, he was not satisfied. He wrote 4 Vedas, 18 Puranas and 108 Upanishads. He was still not satisfied. Then his spiritual master Narad Muni told him that because you have not exclusively glorified Krishna, that's why your heart is not satisfied. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaitukya prati hata yayatma suprasidati. Unless and until one renders unconditional and unmotivated service to Krishna, their hearts can never be fully satisfied. So Vedvyas was told, because you have not served Krishna in the mood of devotion unconditionally and unmotivatedly, therefore you're not happy. So he told him to write a scripture which focuses exclusively on devotion or bhakti to Krishna. Yato bhaktir adhokshaje. So Srimad Bhagavatam does not speak about anything except bhakti. In Bhagavad Gita also there are some chapters. Although Prabhupada presents all the verses in the mood of bhakti, but somebody who is not reading Prabhupada's purports may find some verses because of misinterpretation which are not strictly related to bhakti. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, even a blind person cannot find any verse which is not directly related to bhakti. So therefore, since the moment you'll start reading Bhagavatam, you'll feel unlimited joy in your heart. And when you get that joy, there is nothing else left to be attained. Yayatma suprasidati. The happiness which you are looking for since many, many lifetimes, you will find that happiness in every page of Srimad Bhagavatam. Some of the readers of Srimad Bhagavatam became so ecstatic while reading that they used to cry while reading Bhagavatam, and with their tears, the ink or the letters used to get erased. So they had to purchase new Bhagavatam sets. I pray that that happens to all of you. You should purchase a new Bhagavatam set every year, because you should be in ecstasy while reading, so that the letters should be erased. Neither you can use that book nor others can use. That is the perfection of Krishna consciousness. Different people sell you different things. Somebody sells you a vacuum cleaner, somebody sells you a car, somebody sells you an underwear, somebody sells you something. We are not selling you. We are just inspiring you that you please jump into the nectarian ocean of the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord, which is called as Srimad Bhagavatam. Please read it. What will I get if you people will read Srimad Bhagavatam? I'm already reading. So what will I get? Nothing. But yes, I'll be happy in the core of my heart that people are reading Bhagavatam. That means they have become God realized. Somebody who's reading Bhagavatam, what does it mean? That they have become God realized. And that is my success as a teacher. So how many of you will read Srimad Bhagavatam? Please raise your hands. How many of you would like to take Srimad Bhagavatam in this book marathon month? Thank you. Hare Krishna. So I will end this discussion with a definition of God. That a person who produces vibhuti and gold chain and gold rings and capsules and all that is not God. This is the definition of God. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasahasriyah jnana vairagyayoshchaiva sannam bhagaitingana. Vishnu Puran 6.5.47. Who wrote the Vedas? Vedvyas. Who wrote Vishnu Puran? Parashar Muni, the father of Vedvyas. So the father of Vedvyas is saying the definition of God. Bhagwan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is thus defined by Parashar Muni as one who is full in 6 opulences, who has full strength, full fame, full wealth, full knowledge, full beauty, and full renunciation. One who has all these 6 qualities in the highest possible amount, so that no one else comes closer to that also, that person is God. That means most strong, most famous, most rich, most knowledged, most beautiful, and most renounced. Now all these people who do this, do they come in this category? No. The person who is distributing Chola Bhatura, is he coming in this category? No. The person who is moving from one planetary system to another planetary system through the passage of rivers, is he coming in this category? The person who is able to control lions and tigers and sit on those tigers and go from one place to another place. The person who is able to ask the trees to move so that he can run straight, is he falling in this category? The person who is flying on non-living objects such as walls and sofas, is he falling in this category? The person who is positioning themselves on the sunlight and traveling through the sun rays from one planet to another planet, does he fall in this category? No. The person who is doing Narayan and disappeared from one place and appearing from another place, escaping the traffic jam, does he fall in this category? No. So who is the person who fulfills all these 6 criteria? Give me a name. Krishna. There is only one person who is God, that is Krishna. So are there one God or many gods? One God. Now different people may be able to do this. Like someone may exhibit a lot of strength. Like Hiranyakashipu, he was so strong. He was so strong that even Yamraj was afraid of him. Are you afraid of Yamraj? Everybody is afraid of Yamraj. But Yamraj used to stand like this in front of Hiranyakashipu. Indra used to stand like this in front of Hiranyakashipu. When Hiranyakashipu used to do like this, raise his eyebrow like this, and look at the sun, the Vivaswan used to like, hey, temperature come karo. So गर्मी लग रहा है. Sir, season change करना है क्या? हाँ, अभी थोड़ा खेलने का मन है. You please change the season. हाँ, ठीक. What season? Autumn. Okay, autumn. Change. That was the condition. That's how Hiranyakashipu was controlling the universe. But is he the most powerful? Where is Hiranyakashipu now? The killer of Hiranyakashipu is in our altar. Have you ever sung the Narsimha Arti? We'll end today's class with Narsimha Arti. Are you all ready for it? Just try to listen to me and follow. Narsimha Dev is also Krishna. Krishna has taken the form of Narsimha Dev to eradicate demons like Hiranyakashipu. So when devotees, they look at Narsimha Dev, they understand Keshava Dhrita Narahari Rupa. It is Krishna who has taken the form of Narsimha Dev. It is Krishna who has taken the form of Vaman Dev. It is Krishna who has taken the form of Matsya. It is Krishna who will later take the form of Kalki. But the original form of God is Krishna. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlad Hlad Daine. Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Kilatanka Nakhalaye. Ito Narsingha Parato Narsingho. Yato yato yami tato Narsingha. Bahir Narsingho Hridaye Narsingho Bahir Narsinghamadin Sharanam Prapade. Narsinghamadin Sharanam Prapade. Tav kar kamala vare nakham adbhuta shringam lalita hiranyakashipu tanubhringam keshavadhita narahari rupa. Jai Jagdish Hare, Jai Jagdish Hare, Jai Jagdish Hare. Tab kar adbhuta shringam tanubhringam keshavadhrita narahari rupa. Jai Jagdish Hare, Jai Jagdish Hare. Jaya Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagdish Hare, Jai Jagdish Hare, Jai Jagdish Hare. Jaya Keshavadhrita Jai Jagdish Hare, Jai Jagdish Hare. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Ananta Dev. Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Ananta Dev. जय प्रहलाद महाराज, जय प्रहलाद महाराज, भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज। जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद। भक्ति विघ्न विनाशक नरसिंहदेव भगवान की, भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की, श्रील प्रभुपाद की, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि।